Welcome to another episode of Finding the Seams. I'm Rick Bucher. That is Brendan Haywood. And the NBA, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. We had a whole rundown. We were going to start with the Trae Young trade and what that means and all that. But we have breaking news, and that is I don't know if it's breaking news, Brendan, because the idea that the Memphis Grizzlies, it was presented as breaking news. The Memphis Grizzlies are now entertaining the possibility of trading Ja Morant, two-time All-Star Ja Morant, for the first time. I've been hearing for a while that they were open to that. And what surprised me was that there wasn't a whole lot of traction. There wasn't a whole lot of interest. So I almost look at this as a way of trying to drum up interest or drive fan participation to push their teams to get something done. But what do you make of the fact that we have this now as breaking news?
Well, from what I know, from what I heard last year, I heard the same thing as you, but I heard that they were willing to move Ja Morant at last year's trade deadline. So the fact that that this is now common knowledge and they're putting
Yeah.
it out there for everybody, that tells me that they're pretty much bracing their fan base that we're going to be moving on fairly soon. Kind of like you saw with Trae Young. Hey, once you start putting it out there, hey, we're looking at this team or he's on the move. Like, that's the team pretty much letting the fan base know this gonna happen probably sooner than later. You need to wrap your mind around it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think they're trying to drum up any access or anything. Like, I think they know what it is.
Yeah. No. I get that, but sometimes it's like it's sending that trial balloon through, as you said, to either prepare fans or to try to drive up other fan bases going, Ja Morant's available. Oh, we should go get him. And there was a time where I would say, okay, that's just noise. But what I've seen over the last, I'd say 10 years is that there is ownership that responds to the noise from fans on social media and reacts to that. It's like then they're going down to the GM's office and knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, you know what about this? We should look into this," because more than ever, what I'm seeing is that the ownership is interested as much in the business of the NBA as they are in the building of teams.
You know what I really see?
Hmm.
Go back to last year. What just happened with Trae Young was probably going to transpire with Ja Morant. Do you know what
Yeah.
I really, really see right now?
Hmm.
I see NBA franchises saying, if we don't like you, we're not doing business with you.
Yeah.
I see if we don't like your habits, your behavior on a day-to-day basis, we're not going with the old school model that this guy is so talented that we got to stick with him. We just saw Luka and Trae Young combined get traded for one first-round pick.
Good point.
Combined. Like with Ja Morant, I heard he's been on the table since last year and people aren't really biting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ja, Luka, Trae, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball just came off the bench the other night. Message. They sending a message. Hey, you don't want to get it? Okay.
Yep.
Zion. All these guys 3 years ago were considered untouchable.
Yep.
They now either have been or can be traded for the
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
Teams are pretty much saying, if we have superstars that we don't like your daily habits or what we feel you do for the culture, we not going $300 million in with you. And that's what used to happen. What used to happen is this guy is so good, we have to pay him no matter what.
Right.
Teams are saying, you know what? If I don't like you, I'm not doing. Then these new owners, these new billionaire owners, if we don't like you, we're not doing business with you. That's
Yeah.
what I see. That's what I see. And it's a different landscape than we've ever seen for NBA superstars.
Some of these guys are untouchable in a whole different way, is the reality here. They're untouchable because as much as they're being made available, everybody around the league is saying, I don't know if we want to invest in that. I think a part of this also is, Brendan, particularly when it comes to the incumbent teams, they're looking at, if we keep the guy, he's going to be eligible for the Supermax or a max contract. And he's going to expect us to pay him. And if we don't give him that, then we may have an unhappy superstar that we're building around. And both the size of those max and supermax contracts, along with the more restrictive salary cap, is making teams more judicious about who they invest that in.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the decision, certainly with the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young. Because I don't know, when I first saw the trade terms, Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum, and I'm like, okay, they must doing this shorthand. Like they only have so much room. There have to be draft picks in this. Like, give me a couple second round picks. Give me something else, right? That was it. And I think it was as much to get out from under that 4-year, $229 million that they weren't willing to give him. And if I'm not mistaken, he is a clutch agent, right? Rich Paul is his guy. And as we know,
hold on, don't do that. You know Rich
what?
guy. You know who his guys are. You know exactly who the clutch guys are. You know he's a clutch guy. You know.
It'll be interesting to see how long he's a clutch guy because he's in a tough spot now. By the way, this is the question. This is the question I have for you as a player. And I know that a lot of these are worked out ahead of time, but I'm wondering how privy the player is to it being worked out, which is when a guy is traded and he has an option and it's, well, if they're trading for the guy, chances are they want to keep him and they want to sign him to an extension. How much of that is worked out informally before the trade is done? Like, does Trae Young know that he's going to get an extension, or do the Washington Wizards know that he is going to exercise his option and opt into that money? Like, how much of that is really determined prior? I know the salary cap rules say that it's not supposed to be, but we both know how this business works.
Listen, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you start hearing Trae Young saying his favorite team is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How many guys other than Brendan Haywood have ever said that?
Stop! Don't do that. Don't do that.
You said that on this show. You said that on this show. I played with some great teams, but I never had more fun than I had with the Washington Wizards. We can run the tape.
I said that. All I'm saying is, I had the most fun. We had the most fun in DC. Hey, Trae, you're gonna have fun in DC. You're gonna have fun in DC. Chocolate. There's a lot of stuff to do.
Yep.
But to answer your question, you do this deal if you're the Wizards because you're willing to extend Trae. And if you're Trae, you say you want to go to the Wizards because you understand they're going to give me the contract that Atlanta, maybe some other teams are not.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually good business on both sides. Atlanta obviously wanted to get out of the Trae Young business. I think they undersold. There's no way I'm doing a deal where I move a guy that got me to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe, was it 4 years ago? There's no way I'm trading a guy that has the capability of leading this league in assists like he's done, averaging 25 to 30 like he's done. I'm doing that deal and I'm not getting a first-round pick or a young player at all. Listen. The Washington Wizards, people aren't going to talk about it like this because they're down on Trae Young right now. The Washington Wizards took the Hawks to the woodshed. They just got an all-star player for the price of 34-year-old CJ McCollum and a spot-up shooter off the bench in Corey Kispert. No disrespect to those guys, but that ain't supposed to be the price of Trae Young, and I don't care how low the price is.
Yeah.
The price ain't never supposed to be that low. I came on this show and I said, in the NBA, luxury players are like luxury goods. They never go on sale. I'm here to tell you I'm wrong. Listen, this is a discount. This is basically like walking into Chanel and seeing 50% off, 75% off. A 75% off sale at Chanel, you never see it. A player of Trae Young's caliber being sold for this price, you never see it. And guess what? Don't look now, but the Washington Wizards could quietly put together something very, very quickly, and I'm going to tell you how. First off, Trae Young comes to the team. How much he plays this year, I don't know, because that pick is top 8 protected. Got to play the long game. Second thing,
Hmm.
you get Trae Young mixed in with Trey Johnson, Trae and Trae. They both letting it fly from three. That's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You got Alex Sarr, who's one of the better up-and-coming young bigs in this league. If you haven't watched him, he's blocking everything. He's dunking everything. If Trae can make Clint Capella look good, he can make this kid an all-star. Okay? That's the second part. Last but not least, let's get back to that pick. That pick being top 8 protected. If they get that pick, and let's just say it's a top 4 pick where we're talking A.J. DeBanston, we're talking Caleb Wilson, we're talking Cam Boozer, we're talking Darren Peterson. Listen, I had to watch Darren Peterson and AJ back to back. They're both cold. If they can get a player like that mixed in with Trae Young, Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson, some of the Bud Carrington, some of the other young players they have on this team, the Wizards could be really good fairly quickly. And everybody that has something negative to say about this deal could possibly be eating their words in a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think is saying that it's a bad deal? I think it's a good deal for both sides.
Well, people are saying it doesn't matter because it's the Wizards. People are saying, "Oh, Trae Young can't. He's a losing player."
Yeah.
Oh, Trae, and so like people are so down on Trae Young, they're acting like this deal doesn't matter. I don't think they're saying Washington didn't do good business, but they're acting like this deal doesn't matter when it does. Anytime a player that's this good leaves a team and said team doesn't have to give up any mega assets,
Yeah.
pay attention.
Yeah.
Like when you get a Trae Young and you don't have to give up Trey Johnson, you don't have to give up Alex Sarr, Bud Carrington, you don't have to give up none of these guys. And they get to add a guy that's capable of averaging 30 and 10, 30 and 12. And then next year they might be able to get one of the best picks in the draft, in probably the best draft we've seen in the last decade. Acting like Trae Young to Atlanta doesn't matter is very short-sighted. It might not matter this year. But in a year and a half to 2 years, we might be saying, oh, this was the move that the Wizards made to become players in the NBA again.
The Hawks are a very curious organization in that they had Landry Fields as the GM, and then they went, who had virtually no prior experience. And then the current GM is a guy named Ansi Salah that I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct. That's where it's at, is that I don't know anything about him. I know he spent some time in the Spurs organization, but that's their current GM, with Kyle Korver having made the leap from being Landry Fields' right-hand man to still being there. And I'm a big Kyle Korver fan, just as a person and who he was as a player. But it is curious how the Hawks have approached this. I do like their team. I mean, I think they have a lot of quality young talent, but I'm of the same mind. It just feels like teams decide we're going to move somebody and we want to get him out of the building, whether it's Luka Doncic or Trae Young. And I feel like the same way that Rudy Gobert reset the market in terms of what you had to trade to get a player, because it was like the bag that the Utah Jazz got from Minnesota for Rudy Gobert, that then set the bar for KD and everybody else. And now I feel we're going the other way. It's like Luka Doncic only went for AD, Max Christie, and a protected first, and
Trae Young just got sold for a year's supply of free gas and a pack of Dentyne.
Yeah, and a AAA membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. We've hit the Trae Young thing with Ja Morant out there. Is there a place that you look at and say, you know what, this would make sense, especially if the price is that low?
Minnesota needs another playmaker to go along with Ant. We've talked about this. And if the price is low, if the price is low on guys like Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, I think that's when you buy in. That's why I think what the Wizards did was great. If the price is low on Trae Young, okay, if you're wrong, so what? If the price is low,
yeah.
If the price is low on Ja Morant and Minnesota takes a swing like the Washington Wizards did, and let's just say they're wrong, so what? You tried to trade for an all-star, high-level player, and it didn't work. Okay, who's going to be mad at that? I think Minnesota needs another playmaker in there. and I think Ja Morant fits.
Yeah.
I don't know who they would get off of, but I think when you watch Minnesota, Mike Conley's getting older, and
Yep.
you can tell they need another guy that can take pressure off Ant Edwards, who is playing incredible basketball. But they need another guy that when this game slows down in the postseason, like we know it is,
Yeah.
you got another guy that can boogie with the rock that teams are scared of. If I'm Minnesota, as long as I don't have to give up my future,
Yeah.
if you can tell me, hey, we'll move Julius Randle, or maybe
Oh, you
they'll
would
even let
move
you
Julius
keep,
Randle.
maybe possibly, but
Okay.
whatever the move is, if I can get let's just say a Washington Wizards type package,
Right.
where I'm like, okay, I'm giving up some pieces that I don't necessarily miss, and I have a
Right.
chance to bring in somebody dynamic. If I'm Minnesota, I do that 10 out of 10 times.
Right. Well, so I'm just looking.
And the price of Ja got to be probably maybe the same or a little bit lower than Trae, because Memphis isn't winning.
Yep.
It's obvious that he needs to go. Then the second thing is Trae, for all his faults defensively, he don't come with like the off the court stuff that Ja does. Like Ja got a whole nother set of problems off the court.
True.
And so that means, once again, that's a distressed asset. That means Ja comes in a little bit lower. So I think if I'm Minnesota, that's the deal I'd be trying to make.
The one advantage or the one plus with Ja is the fact that he's signed up for the next 2 years at a very reasonable price. He makes 39 this year. I think it goes up to 42 and 44.
Hey man, when did 39 become the reasonable price? Boy, I tell you what, them salaries. I'm happy for every last one of them young boys, but them salaries have went crazy.
When guys started making 50 and 60, that's when.
True.
Which is what Trae Young would have been looking at the last 2 years of his deal. If Atlanta extended him at 30 and 31, he would have been making more than 60 million. Certainly the last year he would have.
Let's get this out there. What really happened is the franchise values went from like hundreds of millions to billions. That's where it really went up there. They got to be informed to give the people what they want. You know, sometimes they'll look at player salaries a little crazy, and won't look at the franchise making more money also.
I often say it, and fans don't like to hear it, but NBA players, for what teams generate, are still underpaid.
I'm gonna give you this one for free. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, somebody told me, my guy that was doing the numbers.
Oh yeah.
He said
value of the franchise.
The value of the franchise went up a stupid number.
Yep.
But the city of Cleveland alone was estimated to make an extra 500 plus million just because he announced he was coming back. Do you know how valuable? Hey, listen, and I know people. If LeBron is getting paid 50, and the city of Cleveland, not the team, the city of Cleveland makes an extra 500 at minimum just from him coming back. Do you know how valuable he really is?
Yep.
That means 50 million for LeBron is a steal. Yep. So for some of these guys, the money that they generate, like you said, they're generating a certain amount of money. These franchise values are going up. I know we see 50 million. It's a big number to the common person. It's a big number to Brendan Haywood. But in the grand scheme of business, it's not as big as what we might think.
It's also not that big when it comes to the owners. If you look at what NBA owners are worth now these days, the vast majority all start with a B. It's crazy.
Hey, listen. I'm going to give you this one for free.
That's two. That's a twofer.
Hey, listen. I won't give you the full story, but I will give you this line. And this is when I knew NBA owners.
I thought we were friends. All right.
But I'm gonna give you the line.
Holding back.
I mean, no, we call this a teaser. I'm gonna give you this. I might give you the story on another show.
All right.
But an NBA owner gave a line to said player, and I'm gonna give you the names this time. This is when I knew NBA owners make a lot of money. Lamar Odom and Mark Cuban got into it in Memphis. And Lamar said, "Man, you can't talk to me like that just because you pay my salary. I got money." And Mark looked at him dead in his eyeballs and said, "Hey, man, what you make a year, I pay quadruple that in taxes. Don't big boy money talk to me." I said, "Oh," and a little piece of me died inside. Oh, Dog, then I started thinking about it. Hold on, dog. What we make,
Yeah.
he's paying more. Like if he woke up with Brendan Haywood money, he'd be ready to jump off the tallest building in Memphis that day. Like I was just like,
slow down.
I don't know if that's politically correct in these times.
Well,
But
it's not politically correct. So Brendan Haywood is doing all right. All right.
What I'm saying is that's when I realized how much more money the owners made than players. Because he said that live in person with the whole locker room looking. I was like, "Oh, that is a lot more money than what I thought." If I pay more, I pay quadruple what you make in taxes. Ooh, what a comeback!
I think the one for me is there was an All-Star game where I wound up in one of the private like conference rooms for owners to hang out in between events or whatever. And I walked in with one of the owners, and Mark Lazary, who used to have a piece of the Bucks, was talking about the birthday party that he had in Morocco. And he flew everybody in, and it was like 10 days of just like debauchery, right?
A 10-day birthday party?
Yes, 10-day birthday party in Morocco. And I think Bill Clinton was one of the people that he had fly in. And he told me this story about...
Hey, man, what type of party is this? Bill's been linked to some stuff that we all know we wouldn't go that far.
Again, being politically incorrect, you are in this situation. Anyway, I've maybe not been correct, but you're treading on delicate ground right there.
Listen, I'm just saying. Hey, listen, I don't even need to go any farther. I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
I don't want the call. Hey, I don't want, we talk about don't want the call. I definitely don't want that call.
No. By the way, so pulling it back a little bit to the Ja Morant situation and the trade and Minnesota, like Julius Randle and Mike Conley would get it done because of his contract. Mike Conley, Dante DiVincenzo, and Naz Reid would get it done. I have another team I want to throw out there, and I know this is I wouldn't want to do it. It would hurt me to see them do it.
Hey,
but
real quick, if I'm Minnesota, I'm not moving Naz Reid. You can take any of my other bigs.
You'd rather take Julius Randle?
I'm not moving Naz Reid.
Wow. Okay. Okay. The Houston Rockets. If you're going for broke, you could trade Fred VanVleet and Dorian Finney-Smith, and the salaries would match up. It would get you there. It would kill me to see Fred VanVleet get moved and not have a chance to play with this group. And I know what he means to them. But if you're the Houston Rockets, and you don't know what Fred's going to be when he gets back, and undersized guy, and he's more of, an intangible guy as opposed to Ja. The idea that you're running Ja, KD, Amen Thompson, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith, that's a squad.
And then the most important thing is you have a strong coach in Ime.
Exactly.
Ime can talk to Ja.
Exactly.
Like Ime always commands the respect of any locker room he's in. So I definitely think Ja to Houston would make sense. If they're willing to do that, and once again, and the price is low, we're talking about mega talented players being moved for the low. Yeah, hey, listen, I roll the dice on a player like Ja Morant, Trae Young every time. Superstars are what win you championships. Now, your role players, they have to be intact. You got to have your role players there. But don't get it twisted. Every car needs an engine. You ain't going nowhere if you just got 4 doors and some tires. You got to have the engine. And a player like Ja, players like Trae Young, these guys that have either been traded or will be traded for bargain basement prices, I'm doing that all day. Like, if you don't have to mortgage your future, the Orlando Magic mortgaged their future for Desmond Bane. Like, he was 4 picks. The Knicks, how many picks did the Knicks give up for Bridges?
Oh my gosh, 5.
Man, come on, man. I'm not doing that for Mikal Bridges, Todd Bridges. I don't care who it is, man. London Bridges falling down. I don't care. Like, dog, 5 picks?
Yeah.
I'm not mortgage like so now. Fast forward, Luka goes for 1 pick, Trae goes for no
Yeah.
picks, and we talking about Ja Morant going for the low. Yeah, you supposed to be buying these players.
Yep.
Luxury. And listen, these players are going on sale for the low.
This is what's also interesting is that with all of the new equity driven owners, all the guys that are into venture capitalism and real estate and all the highfalutin businessmen that are now owning teams, that they have all gone to the Donald Sterling model, which is they are valuing draft picks and selling hope down the line and keeping the overhead cheap. There's teams that already overspent and they're trying, like a Joe Lacob, like he's stuck. He's trying to work his way back, right? But the new ownership is very conscious of the fact that draft picks are relatively cheap labor, and the young draft picks sell hope to your teams where they believe. And then it's when it comes time to having to pay them, Trae Young, thanks. Appreciate you taking us as far as you did. We can move in another direction. Because that's what the Hawks look like right now. You know, they're not keeping CJ McCollum. There's no reason that they should. And so then it's
that's somebody else that Houston should be looking at. Truthfully,
CJ McCollum.
CJ McCollum, if he's for sure.
But I don't think they can do that this year. That would be down the line.
Okay. I don't know if he.
I don't think he can be traded again within the parameters of when he would qualify to be on the playoff roster.
Okay, that's why I need you on the show. When I just throw something out there, that's kind of like just me thinking from a player standpoint. You just, hey, Bree, that's illogical. That can't happen. Bring me back in.
Alex Sarr being an all-star is also illogical. I wanted to get back to that. I mean, Trae Young will do things for him.
Whoa.
Alex Sarr is not going to be an all-star. I think he can be much better. I think he can develop.
You don't think he can be just one time in his career? He can't be an all-star.
There's a lot of guys that were one-time all-stars. You know what I mean?
That's what I said. That he can be an. I didn't say that he was going to be a. There's a difference between saying you can be an all-star and a perennial all-star.
Okay, but when we there's a difference. You can make him into an all-star. It's not like you tricked into it. And by the way, even I'll say no, that can't happen because that would mean that you're having two all-stars come from the Washington Wizards. They're never gonna.
You never know. You never know.
If you get a top draft pick and you got Trae Young and Alex Sarr, you'd have to have three all-stars from the Wizards. I don't think that's happened in the history of the NBA that they had three.
Listen.
I'm listening.
All I'm saying is you never know what tomorrow holds. Okay? You never know what tomorrow. I'm not. Listen, if you would have told
and for the record, Clint Capella was never an all-star.
Clint Capella was never an all-star, but Clint Capella's not as good as Alex Sarr. No, he's not. And so, all I'm saying is, I didn't say within I didn't say this year, next year, but can Trae Young make Alex Sarr an all-star? I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible.
I think your daughter would disagree.
You think
she
so?
Just heard that. She's leaving the room. She's not putting up with that nonsense.
That's not my daughter. That's my chef. But continue.
Was it really? No, stop it.
I promise you. Yeah. I'm down in my basement. I have another kitchen down here.
Okay.
Like, hey, that's my second
you're
kitchen.
Like, and Brendan Haywood, Mark Cuban would just he'd want to end it if he had to live the Brendan Haywood experience.
Life has been all right for me. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say that. Continue. Let's keep going.
Okay, let's keep going. We do have a couple other things that I want to hit very quickly before we get there. Before we get to the end, after 24-1 start, Thunder gone 7-6, I believe, in their last 13 games. That includes, obviously, they lost 3 times to the Spurs, but they also lost to Charlotte and Phoenix, and they needed overtime to beat the Utah Jazz. So when you look at this slide, what do you credit it to?
Human nature. Things were going so well for OKC. They're still a young team relatively. You get out there every night now, you're the 100 team. you're the hot ticket. Last year they weren't the hot ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody,
For
hey, we
sure.
want
They
to see,
snuck up on
yeah.
people last year.
And listen, now you're the big game. You're the game where teams are like, these guys are real, like, especially like these bad teams, they're really excited for this game because they normally don't sell out, and now they're in front of a sellout crowd, and they want to go out there and put on. And they come out there, and the teams are starting to adjust to the way OKC plays defense. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
like they're adjusting to that pressure and being able to take advantage of it. And like I said, this is the best thing in the world for OKC. You're seeing, okay, this is how they're adjusting to our pressure. This is what they're doing. All right, now this is what we have to do to give another layer to what's going to help us come April and May. So I think OKC is going to be just fine. Like, I'm not really worried. Like, they have so many high-level defenders and two-way players that they're going to be just fine. But this was just it just came at a point in the season where a little bit lax, a little bit of a letdown, a little bit let go of the rope. That happens with all teams. We just didn't see it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think we've seen the most slippage at the defensive end with them. And that to me is it's January and you get to a point where, okay, you were gunning for the best all-time record, and then the Spurs knock you off 3 times in short order, and you're like, okay, maybe we put that on the back burner. Maybe that's for another time. And then the margin, as you well know, right? The margin between winning and losing, no matter who you are, is just not that great. If you don't come out and play hard on a given night, pretty much anybody in the league, especially if they're shooting a little above their normal grade, you can get beat. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is some of what has happened. I do wonder, though, whether the Spurs did give tape for people to look at to say, if we want to have a chance against OKC, this is what we need to do. And I think, to me, a big part of it is matching their physicality, is not letting them kind of, bull rush you, which is what OKC did for the better part of the start of the season. And Spurs showed that if you can meet their physicality, you can give yourself a better chance.
I wholeheartedly agree. Listen, once teams start getting used to, hey, they're going to play physical. They're going to have multiple guys playing physical. Because they have multiple guys playing physical, the refs can't call. The refs don't want to call 5 straight hand checks. Yep. They don't. Like, they don't want to be like, okay, SGA, J-Dub, check, 3 straight possessions, foul. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is how you have to get used to playing. And now teams are starting to adjust. And guess what? Then OKC's like, okay, now we have to make an adjustment as well. They'll be just fine.
Yeah.
They're still so far ahead of schedule.
Rick Pitino brought that in when he was with the Boston Celtics. That was his whole game plan. We're going to foul.
Duke used to do it in college basketball. Like, think about those, I'll say, 90s to early 2000s Coach K teams. They used to apply ball pressure all over the court and challenge the officials. What you going to call, like, 3 straight hand checks on Jason Williams, Shane Battier, and Elton Brand? And those, like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that.
Yep. Yeah, Pitino took the same approach with the Celtics. It was like, at some point they're just going to get tired of blowing the whistle, and we're going to get away with more than we normally would. I am going to do something. I don't think it's for the first time on this show, but we have Rich Paul and LeBron James have given us so much material over the last 7 days since our last episode. But I am going to bypass that. I am not going to bite. I am not.
The low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit. Don't take it.
Yes, exactly right. Like, we're bigger and better than that here on Finding the Seams. We don't need that. We don't need the cheap thrills. So I'm going to go and pivot to the college basketball scene because of some of the guys that you have seen firsthand, and a question that I wanted to get to last week that is even better this week in terms of who are the best 3 college basketball players that you have seen to this point.
The best 3 are, I'll say, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBanster, and Caleb Wilson. Those are the best 3.
In that order.
Those are the best. In that order. Then the next one is Cam Bucher.
Interesting. What puts Darren Peterson at the top?
Darren Peterson, I did their game against UCF, he hadn't played in weeks with a hamstring injury. He had 23 points in the first half, and it was arguably the easiest I've ever seen a player score at the college level.
Hmm.
And they were guarding him, but it's easy for him.
Yeah.
Like, he shoots the ball so well. He's a legit 6'5", 6'6", playing point or two. He understands where his shots come from. In the mid-pick and roll, he doesn't make the wrong decision. He might miss a shot, but he doesn't make a wrong decision. So I watched the game where I'm like, I know this guy hasn't been playing for weeks. Had an easy 23 points in the first half. Would have had a 30, 40-point game probably, but his hamstring started acting up, and he played limited minutes in the second half. So Darren Peterson is one of those guys that you see it right away. The burst, the offensive skill set, the decision-making, the shot-making, the size. He is one of those ones. He's one of those special players.
Wow. Is there, of the top guys in college basketball right now, who's the guy, and I ask this because I have one in mind, who's the guy that makes you nervous in terms of transitioning from what he is and how he's being touted in college basketball versus what he would be in the NBA?
Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer makes me the most nervous because I know that he can play. I know how good he is. He's been affecting winning since high school and college. My only thing is, sometimes when I watch him against athletic players, it don't look the same. Mm-hmm. And so he's the guy that now great players make adjustments. If he makes the adjustment in his head and figures out how to play against athletic guys, he's going to be a multiple-time all-star franchise carrier. But if athletic guys start to give him problems, or stronger guys, because you watch Cam, he doesn't really play over the top of people. He kind of bumps people out the way and knows how to play to it. He kind of like his father used to do. Carlos didn't play above the rim, but he knew how to give you a shoulder here, bump you off, get to his fadeaway. That's some of the stuff that Cam does. But when he's played against the really, really athletic guys, he's still got his numbers. But I'm watching how he finishes inside, and I notice it's not the same. I'm nitpicking. I still think he's great. I don't want nobody to think I'm hating on Cam Boozer.
Carlos was a mini Karl Malone in terms of how he played. And I'll never forget, this is the first time I ever saw this. And I don't know, I'm sure I'd seen it various times, but he was in the layup line pregame. And he would go in, there's no contact, it's one on none. He'd go in, and every time he'd go in, he'd go, oh! He was practicing his timing of yelling and letting go of the layup for when he was in the game to fool the referees as if there was contact or he got bumped. And
can't say that I've seen that before. Can't say that's a new one. I can't say that I've seen that one before.
It just tickled me. I was like, what? And he was barking like he wasn't holding back, and he was doing it every time. A question for you, because we heard a little bit of this with Cooper Flagg, not to the same degree, but compare Cooper Flagg's athleticism, or the question about his athleticism being at an NBA elite level compared to Cam's.
What do you mean? Cooper Flagg is a big-time athlete. What are you talking about? Who said Cooper Flagg wasn't a good athlete?
No. But if I'm not mistaken, coming out of college, the questions of whether he was going to be one of those franchise transformational all-time great players was, how is he going to do against athletic, super athletic, big guys in the NBA? Is he still going to be able to get to his shot, create a shot?
See, that was never my concern. So I don't know what anybody else's concern. My concern with Cooper Flagg was he going to be able to create his own shot? It was, is he going to work on his offensive enough? Because when you watched him at Duke, he didn't have necessarily a bag to go to. So
right.
Like, I'll give you if you watch AJ play, AJ DeBansta, he has all the moves right now. Where Cooper Flagg was playing off of instinct. And now you're starting to see Cooper Flagg develop those go-to moves. So I never questioned Cooper's offense. I questioned how quickly was he going to develop the go-to moves, and we're starting to get the answer to that. The more and more he plays, the better and better he gets.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of mock drafts out there that have Cam ahead of Caleb Wilson in the draft, and they have the Sacramento Kings taking him. Obviously, we don't know what the draft order is yet. All of that.
No! Don't do my Tar Heel like that. Don't send him to Sacramento.
Well, no, they have Cam Boozer going to Sacramento.
Send the Duke Blue Devil out
No,
there.
no, no, no. Caleb Wilson is more with Scott Perry there as the GM and BJ Armstrong as his assistant GM. It is far more likely that they would take Caleb Wilson than Cam Boozer. I assure you that Scott is not going to take somebody whose athleticism he questions. He will always he'll take the guy that might have a little bit of a troubled past, who he knows can get it done physically, and say, I can rehab this guy. I can keep him within the guardrails, far ahead of saying that I'm going to take the Boy Scout who I have questions as to whether he can make the NBA grade. Just as for Kings fans who may be a little nervous out there in terms of where they would go. That's what scares me a little bit, is that I could see Cam in the big picture. I could see him sliding a little bit more than anybody is projecting him at the moment, for the reason that you said, because one, this draft is so loaded. And two, I know that when they get to, the final stages, they look for reasons to take you out of, to move you down their board. They're not looking they're looking for weakness.
They're looking for reasons not to draft you.
Exactly. And so among all the top guys that I see right now, I could see Cam being a victim of that. All right. That's it for this episode. Right. We got her done. What's the chef making today, by the way?
Oh man, had a little bit of egg whites and ground beef early. Now we got a little nice little power bowl coming. A little broccoli, sweet potato, some broccoli, sweet potato, lean ground beef. Man, we're trying to keep it sexy for 2006.
Man, no doubt about it. Now,
keep it sexy. I'm trying to be eye candy.
Is there? Okay.
What? Wait, what?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say. I
thought I heard something. I heard something.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Maybe the next show. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that. I want to know why the chef has to work at the downstairs kitchen, but you know what? I'm going to leave that alone too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And then for all of you out there that are sorely disappointed that we didn't get to LeBron or Rich Paul, I have a feeling they're probably going to come up again sometime in the not too distant future. So in the meantime, as always, Brendan, pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
All right.